Welcome to It Is What It Is podcast, episode 4. So the first question that I have tonight posed to you guys is, why are Americans quitting their jobs still in 2022? Why? Comment below. Put in the comments and an email. I'd like to know your thoughts on why Americans are quitting their jobs still in 2022. Most states have taken away the extra money that they were paying for unemployment, although they haven't taken it all away in states surrounding us, but they're not getting the extra $600 a month, so that can't be it. So what do you guys think? Why are people still unemployed when there are more than enough jobs out there for everyone? Why are people with CDLs, which is a commercial driver's license for those that don't have one or don't know what one is, why are they sitting at home when they're 100,000 drivers short right now, needed to move stuff, to get your iPhones, your iPads, and all your cool stuff from China that is sitting on a ship in a container off the port because there's not enough drivers to move it from the West Coast to the East Coast and everywhere in between. Also, what's going to happen with the people that don't want to work? Not only are they quitting their jobs, they just don't want to work at all. Would rather stay home and watch Maury Povich or whatever, insert favorite show there. How do we get them back to work to where we can get back to some kind of normalcy and get this inflation down and all these high prices we're paying for gas and groceries and everything in between? How do we get people back to work? What's the incentive? Do we take away unemployment altogether if you're physically able to work? I'm asking the question to you guys. What are your thoughts? I mean, there are some cases that unemployment makes sense, and that's what it's there for, but we definitely have people that are abusing the unemployment structure. So how do we get them back to work? What's it going to take? What politician is going to lead the way to get people back to work? I mean, I've seen some families, some family members of some families personally, that all of a sudden just don't want to work and want to be unsuccessful, have no desire whatsoever to get out into the workforce, work their way, start out at the bottom, work their way up to the top or somewhere in between and do something with their lives. They're happy with make a minimum wage or just over. And then you have some that are overachievers. I mean, I've got a few people in mind right now that are very close to me that are overachievers. that maybe finish school early, do things extra when they can't or couldn't go to work because of the pandemic when it started. So they decided to do other things that's going to help them out eventually in their lives. You know, there's definitely more than that, but there's two types of people that I think of. It's those two. It's the people that could care less about being successful in life at their job, and then there's people that want to be overly successful, which is a great thing. And how do we get the unsuccessful, who cares people more towards the wanting to be successful, live on my own, not, have someone support me when I'm 28, 29, 30 years old, and do it on your own. Support your own family on your own, because what's going to happen is, let's say you're in your late 20s, getting closer to 30, and you think you have plenty of time. Then once you hit 30, you're going to get slapped in the face with reality, because it doesn't just, success doesn't just happen. I mean, you have to start early with whatever career or job that you have or that you're wanting, and work your way up. Someone just doesn't hand you success and say, oh, here you go. You're going to be making X amount of dollars, whatever that successful number in your head is, because it's different for everyone. You've got to, absolutely, my thought is enjoy your, definitely high school and college, and maybe your early to mid 20s, especially if you're single. But at some point you've got to kick yourself and get it in gear, so that at 35, 38, you're not looking back going, where did all this time go, and oh crap, how am I going to pay my bills, and I'm still depending on people to help me out. So how do we do that? It's a question for you guys. Thought I would start this one out a little bit different this week. Also, this is the first video podcast for It's What It Is podcast. So the YouTube will be posted on the YouTube page, the video portion, but we also will post the audio like we normally do on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all the podcast platforms. So, but if you want to watch the video portion, it will be on the YouTube page. So let's get started with the news. This is from BuzzFeed. People are pointing out adult problems nobody prepared them for, and this is so true. So this week, Reddit user Frequent Pilot 243 posed the question, what is an adult problem nobody prepared you for? And there were so many relatable answers. Here are some of the top voted responses. Number 1, lack of purpose. All of your young life, you were given purpose, like passing exams and learning. Then all of a sudden, you are thrown into the world and told to find your own meaning. And that was from Captain Snow. Number 2, how expensive everything is. I always thought that as an adult, I would be able to afford the things I wanted, but it turns out that's not always the case. I had to learn how to budget and save up for the things I want, and it's been a difficult process. Number 3, I'm close to 50. Would have been nice to be better prepared for some of the ways your body starts to change that don't normally get talked about. For instance, your teeth will start to shift from the general aging of your gums. Number 4, not having a lot of free time or time by myself. I guess that depends on if you're married and have a family or not, or what type of work that you do. It's all kids and work, and then any free time I have at night goes to sleeping. I think I have half an hour a day to myself. Number 5, networking for jobs. My parents had the same jobs since I was born. I never saw them look for one, so I didn't know. I thought hard work would basically show employers I was worth hiring, and despite burning myself out, I still lost out to people with half my ability because they were more sociable. It was baffling to me for a long time. Number 6, having to make dinner every fucking day. When I was a kid, I loved making dinner for everyone. Now I still like cooking, but damn if it's not way nicer to make a meal on your day off rather than scrape something together quickly after getting home from a 13-hour day just because food is required to continue living. Number 7, handling the decline and death of your parents. The care of an elderly sick parent is draining. My husband and I never had any children. This is the most responsibility we have ever had. And like a child who becomes more and more independent each day, the infirmed need more care as the days go by. Number 8, $5,000 is a lot to owe, but not a lot to have. Number 9, the intricacies of workplace politics. When you're in school, you think that you won't have to deal with gossiping and bullying once you leave school. Unfortunately, that's not true. Number 10, figuring out what makes you happy. Everyone keeps trying to get you to do things you're good at or that make you money, but they never encourage you to pursue what you enjoy. Productivity is a curse word in so many ways. Number 11, you can stay up as late as you want, but you shouldn't. Number 12, almost all of your friends won't be lifelong. No one really talks about how common it is to lose touch with people or grow apart. Number 13, being asked why I'm single and have no kids like I'm some sort of alien. I'm a 43-year-old unmarried woman with no kids. I confuse the hell out of new people. A lot of people don't know what to talk about if they can't discuss kids. Number 14, the more life you've lived, the faster time seems to go. Number 15, why the fuck does my back hurt all the fucking time? And why do my nose and ears have hair? Number 16, getting burnt out. Number 17, and finally, how easy is it to feel stuck in a bad situation, with whether that's a job, relationship, etc., just because the cost and effort of getting out can seem daunting. Sometimes you just have to accept a figurative bowl full of shit because you can't afford to blow up your life. What's an adult problem you wish someone had warned you about? Let me know in the comments below. All right. And this is from the Rolling Stones. Neil Young demands Spotify remove his music over false information about vaccines. Let me start out by saying I like Neil Young's music. I don't like his politics, but I grew up with Neil Young's music. And before I even read this from the Rolling Stones, it has to do with Joe Rogan and how he has been proving people wrong about the vid here lately, and no one has proven him wrong. And it's really biting Neil Young in the ass. And Spotify has got a lot of money invested in Joe Rogan. And if for Neil Young to think removing his music that's going to do anything and Spotify is going to bow down to Neil Young, he needs to go and smoke a couple more joints. Just my opinion. So let's get into it. This is from Andy Green. Neil Young and the promise of the real concert. Neil Young has posted an open letter to his management team and record label demanding that they remove his music from Spotify. I am doing this because Spotify is spreading fake information about vaccines, potentially causing death to those who believe the disinformation being spread by them, he writes. First of all, I'm going to pause here. How does he know that Spotify is spreading fake information? How does he know what information is fake and what information is real? Is he a scientist, a doctor? I don't think so, but that's just questions that I have right off the bat. Continuing, please act on this immediately today and keep me informed of the time schedule. I want you to let Spotify know immediately today that I want all of my music off of their platform. He continues, they can have Joe Rogan or Young, not both. Young is referencing the steady stream of misinformation about vaccines that Joe Rogan has peddled on the Joe Rogan Experience. Last month, 270 doctors, physicians, and science educators signed an open letter asking Spotify to stop spreading Rogan's baseless claims. He hasn't spread baseless claims. Again, he discussed his direct what happened to him when he had COVID. He made that very clear that, it wasn't what happens to everyone. He made it very clear what medicines and prescriptions his doctor gave him and what he took. And there have been many physicians and quote unquote experts that he's spoken to since then. And no one can tell him that his experience wasn't like he said that it was. So for Neil Young to say that he's spreading misinformation about the vaccines and that what he's talking about is untrue is basically misinformation on his own. So With an estimated 11 million listeners per episode, the Joe Rogan Experience, which is hosted exclusively on Spotify, is the world's largest podcast and has tremendous influence. The letter reads, Spotify has a responsibility to mitigate the spread of misinformation on its platform, though the company presently has no misinformation policy. Young removed most of his music from Spotify several years ago because he felt the sound quality on the service was too low, but he ultimately relented. That's where people get music, he told Rolling Stone in 2019. I want people to hear my music no matter what they have to get through to do it. No, he wants to get paid is what he wants to do because he gets paid for each play of a song of his. So that's what it's all about. Continuing, I'm just trying to make it so that they hear a lot more, enjoy it a lot more, but sell it for the same price because music is music. Young's letter was addressed to his manager, Frank Gironda, and Tom Corson, the co-chairman and chief operating officer of Warner Brothers. As at press time, Spotify hadn't responded to a request from Rolling Stone asking if they plan to remove Young's music. It's still available, but it might be smart to listen to Zuma and Rust, Never Sleeps While You Still Can. They can disappear at any moment. Best of the Rolling Stones. Again, this is about him getting paid. It has nothing to do with the quality of the sound. And if he thinks that Spotify is going to make any changes based on his threat to take his music off of the platform, he's smoking crack. I mean, it's just not going to happen. The money that Joe Rogan makes Spotify is a lot more than Neil Young has ever done anything to all the music platforms combined. So again, just my opinion. And this one, when I got into it, it just happened, but it's been all over every news platform. Well, most of the news platforms in the last day and a half. But Fox News' Peter Doocy laughs off Biden's SOB insult. Nobody has fact-checked him yet and said it's not true. So Biden calls Doocy a stupid son of a bitch. Fox News White House correspondent Peter Doocy was able to laugh off President Biden's SOB insult against him during his appearance on The Five. Moments after the exchange went viral on Monday, which was 2 days ago, Doocy explained that he had 2 pages of questions about crime prepared before Biden scolded reporters for asking questions about the Russia-Ukraine conflict during a meeting focused on the economy. So I shouted, okay, what about inflation? Do you think inflation is a political liability in the midterms? Doocy said. Because people were shouting at us to get out. But somebody came up to me in the briefing room a few minutes later and said, did you hear what the president said? And I said, no, what? They said, he called you stupid SOB. And I said, did he say SOB? And the person said no.
So Doocy,
I think the president's right. You are stupid, SOB, co-host Jesse Waters quipped.
Yeah, nobody has
fact-checked him yet and said it's not true, Doocy replied. Biden met with the Competition Council and members of his cabinet Monday to discuss ways to lower prices for American families. Following his prepared remarks near the 8-minute mark of the live stream, members of the press began shouting questions, hoping for the president to take a few before they were shown the door by the White House staff. Biden knocked the first reporter who asked about administration's call with European leaders as tensions between Russia and Ukraine rise. The only reason I don't like doing is this because you never report on why it's called a meeting, because you never report on why I've called a meeting. And this is important, Biden said. I had a very, very, very good meeting. All the European leaders. We'll talk about it later, thank you. Will you take questions on inflation then, Ducey then asked. Do you think inflation will be a political liability ahead of the midterms? As Ducey and the other reporters were being shooed away, Biden took a swipe at the Fox News correspondent. That's a great asset. More inflation. What a stupid son of a bitch, Biden said to his cabinet. Last week, Biden similarly lashed out at Fox News White House correspondent Jaquil Henrich for attempting to press him following his controversial remarks at the press conference about the escalating Russia-Ukraine conflict. Why are you waiting on Putin to make the first move, sir? Henrich asked. Biden chuckled, softly replying, "What a stupid question." The White House later walked back Biden's comment. Earlier in his administration, Biden warned his staff to show colleagues and members of the press with respect. I'm not joking when I say this. If you're ever working with me and I hear you treat another colleague with disrespect or talk down to someone, I promise you I will fire you on the spot. On the spot. No ifs, ands, or buts. Biden said, everyone is entitled to be treated with decency and dignity. That story is from Fox News. So let's dig a little deeper into this. So he's taking questions that he never does. He never takes questions. When he does, he will remark, I'm going to get in trouble for this, which means whoever is running the country or running him, telling him what to do, is telling him not to take questions because he always gets himself in trouble. How many hot mic issues has he had? I mean, I can think just off the top of my head, 3 or 4, right? I mean, he had the one where when he was the vice president, he dropped the F-bomb to President Obama. It's just, he doesn't care. It's something that he does. And then reading last night, or actually I think I was listening to a continuation of this story, and apparently he reached out to Peter Ducey over the phone and apologized for calling him that and joked about the hot mic issue. So, I mean, he did apologize. It really doesn't mean anything. I mean, if you're not going to answer important questions that everyone wants to know about, especially when we're paying, in the South states, the southern states, we're paying $3.40 a gallon in gas, where we were paying $1.80 to $2.40, a year ago. You need to answer those questions, in my opinion. You don't need to laugh it off and call reporters that are not on your payroll and not working for organizations that ask you softball questions that you usually are waiting for and already have been prepared to answer by your cabinet or your quote unquote people. So, the call, the apology doesn't mean anything to me. I heard Peter Ducey this morning say that, he was glad that he got the call and he appreciated it. But I mean, what does that mean when it's like when you've gotten caught doing something, you're asking for forgiveness. Why not just answer the questions? Where's the transparency that he said his administration was going to have when he got voted in by 30% of the people that voted for him now are saying they wish they never did? Because where is he? He's always on vacation. His communications team, Jen Psaki, said the other day that he's always busy, always has something to do. Although yesterday, I believe he went down the street from the White House and was eating ice cream cones. Nobody knows what's really going on in the White House. Nobody knows what's going to happen with this Russia-Ukraine thing because there's no transparency. They've got, I believe it's 8,500 U.S. Service men and women ready to go to different countries around Ukraine if Russia does indeed invade them. But what's 8,500 going to do when Russia has 100,000 troops on the border of Ukraine ready just to walk right in and do whatever they want to do? We've got to be better than that. We've got the best and most dangerous military in the world, and we're going to put 8,500 on standby to do what? Nothing. There's other things he said that he was prepared to do, like sanction Putin personally. I mean, what is that going to do? This guy has trillions of dollars hidden away that no one can get to, but we're going to sanction him. All that's going to do is hurt the people of Russia. But anyway, just my thoughts. But yeah, go into the comment section and leave your thoughts on the questions I asked in the beginning. I'd like to know. We're going to make some changes to the schedule of this podcast and probably a couple other things. We'll be sharing those in the next couple. But look for some changes, and going to have our first guest next week. So I appreciate you listening. And again, you can find the audio versions on all the podcast platforms, and the video version will be on the YouTube page, the Is What It Is podcast YouTube page. So appreciate it, and stay safe.